Hey, welcome to the Retail Fix It podcast. This is episode 4. Retail Fix It is a national facility maintenance management company. We perform repairs for multi-location commercial facility owners all across the country. That means if you're a retailer, restaurant chain, if you're in hospitality or a dental chain, you're a medical chain, any kind of commercial facility owner that has 100, 300, 500, 5,000 locations all across the country that you own as a corporation, we perform repairs and centralize your maintenance and repairs for all that stuff, all your locations into one company and streamline that for you. So that's the industry we're in. That's what Retail Fix It does. We want to get into a really cool topic today, and that is technology. So Retail Fix It is a technology company, really. Again, I started this company 25 years ago. Technology was something I knew quickly had to be focused on. It's an efficiency type of industry. We do a lot of small transactions, lots of them, hundreds and thousands of them for our customers. So we can be anywhere in the country doing repairs for our customers and all these little bitty jobs. And then sometimes they send us the bigger stuff they need done. What I'm saying is that's a transaction nightmare, potentially. You know, even small jobs have all the weight of a big job. They have a beginning and a middle and an end, and they've got a customer, they've got a vendor, they've got administration, you have to start the job. So just the transactional part of that load of a small job is in some regard as weighty as a big job. Well, how do you make that efficient? You have to have streamlined processes. You have to have efficiency. And where do we get that? Everybody knows we get that from technology. You know, it was funny. Everybody that I consulted with back at that time was like, oh, just find a CRM out there that works, that's already built and works for your company. Well, I was like, well, I don't know. I'm not feeling that. I don't think there's anything out there that facilitates the process that I feel and see inside of me would solve the problems in this industry. But I took a poke at it. You know, we were using QuickBooks, enterprise level QuickBooks, to manage these jobs. As a matter of fact, I remember Corrigo was coming around at that time and they were rising up trying to become a software solution for companies, and they were partnering with QuickBooks, and they started consulting with me on how I was using QuickBooks, and they even began gleaning from what I was doing in QuickBooks. And so they were saying, we've never seen anybody use QuickBooks like this. They started learning from me, but their software wasn't helping me. That was designed for field service management. That was designed for a fleet truck company. You know, they've got the GPS stuff, you know, where they can track where the vans are on the road and employee management and all that. But we're talking about a nationwide facility management process where you've got account managers that need to efficiently be accommodated to managing as many jobs as they can in a highly efficient way, where the technology is reducing the transactional load from my team so they can focus on the customer and listening and talking to the vendor and measuring the quality of job and the types of things. And they're not weighted down with clicks and phone calls and all these little administrative tasks that computers can do. I said, we've got to build something. So that was, you know, around 2000, 2005. We found and partnered with a company that we found. We vetted some software companies. I had an in-house IT department. I had a technology guy that worked in the company. So, you know, they couldn't really pull the wool over my eyes through ignorance. We hired a company and he was out of Texas, but he was, you know, from Bangladesh. He started designing some stuff for us and trying to get this thing launched. That crashed and burned. He was going and then he ghosted, just kind of had to pause. We lost it. It was tough for me back then. It's a tremendous amount of money for me now, and it went to pot. Well, we still had to run a business, and so a couple of years went by. We went at it again, or maybe not even that long. Went at it again to try to build a software. Same thing. We were failed by the person that said they could do this and said they could deliver this. And I'm starting to think, man, is this not my destiny? Am I not supposed to build this software? It was crashing and burning. But we took a third whack at this, and we had to. I needed it. I knew I needed it. The industry needed it. My company needed it. There's nothing out there like it, you know, that I could just buy off the shelf and get working. So the third time we go at it, We get way further down the road and we're almost to fruition. This is still like 12 or 15 years ago. We go to sort of getting towards the end of a small version 1 of the software that was almost the vision. I mean, the whole vision was inside of me. I just couldn't get it into a software developer that could actually create it effectively. The dude ransoms me, literally. Like, I paid him everything he asked for. We get near the end, and he gives me this crazy $10,000 ransom. Like, I'm not going to give you the source code unless you... And I literally negotiated a ransom for my own software. It was wild, Look, on these podcasts, I like to be raw and tell the story. This is life. If anybody's a business owner, these are some of the things you go through. It happened. It's even kind of tough telling the story because these are bumps of the past, but got my source code. But then I was stuck, right, with a source code and a software with broken relationship from a guy that ransomed me, and he's the one that built it. So hiring a new company to see if they could work within what was built, and they couldn't. They didn't write it. They didn't know how to get it going. So long story short, I ended up contacting the developers that he used to develop the software. I just want to know if you can give me some advice. How can I get somebody to finish this? Because I don't know what to do. And what they told me was he hadn't paid us. So in our contract, we have the full right to work directly with you because of his delinquency of not paying us. And honestly, I didn't even trust them at the time. But I had no other choice. And so I said, let's roll. So the developers that wrote this software began to work directly with me, not the sort of middleman, to launch and keep going with it. And that story that I just told you has led to a 7+ year, wildly successful journey with a husband-wife team of software developers that have just become like family. I mean, I have worked with them 20 to 30 hours on average per week, personally, for 7+ years. I mean, we've done life together. We've done COVID together, pre-COVID, all that stuff. And they're phenomenal. It's been an amazing journey. They quit all their other customers. They work exclusively for Retail Fix-It. They're a partner. They're essentially part of the team. They're completely part of the team. We have a custom in-house, fully cloud-based job management portal, 3-in-1, meaning we have a customer portal login, a vendor portal login, and then other accommodations to both of those parties on how things function. And then we have the admin portal, which is a very robust job management piece. There's no end in sight with it. I mean, we've got all sorts of things we're developing right now. We're rolling out a feature this week in the software of multiple choice option estimates and all sorts of cool little stuff that's enhancing it constantly. But software and technology, process efficiency is radically important in the national facility management space because you're just doing a lot of transactions. I mean, you're doing a tremendous amount of transactions. You're dealing with multiple parties at one time, us in the middle, the vendor on this side, customer on that side. And that's can be a communication nightmare if it's not wildly efficient. These communication can get lost. And so we're in the business of communicating very strongly and just clearly, just the simplicity of what is being requested of by the manager at the store or corporate of our customers, getting to us, and then us conveying that exact data to the vendor appropriately, them getting the whole picture and us managing that in the middle. And customers are enjoying logging into their portal and they can see a visual of all their open tickets in one space right in the dashboard when they log in. It's simple. They can put a job in like 45 seconds, literally. Here's the thing. With customers, I understood the customer doesn't need to live in my system. They've got other things to do, right? So even if you're a facility manager, retailer, or restaurant chain or something like that, we need to feed you deliverables when they happen, not just when you decide you need to go in and check on your stuff and put a job in or look at open statuses. So, at different milestones of a job progression, the system, it emails facility manager or a regional facility manager or even a store level person, if that's how we model things for you guys, if that's what you guys want. And most of our customer portal was built by customers. It was us getting feedback. What that's done is created partners out of our customers. And our customers now come in and tell us how to design these reports. So that's how we wanted to do it on the customer side with reporting. Was another side of it, though, is the vendors. See, the thing is, these vendors, they're not sitting at a desk and logging into a portal. The administrative teams are, but a lot of times we want to use a service provider that's like one man in a truck. The reason for that is because you're going to get a lot more out of quality and cost efficiency and communication out of a one man in a truck or a smaller type of service provider, electrician who gets in his truck and he's the owner and he goes and does those repairs that day, than you are out of a company that's got like 6 or 7 or 50 techs, because if the owner operator type company, that service provider vendor that we're using to manage our customers' repairs is the ones we use. So if we use John's electrical service or whatever, and John is the one that's going to do the repair, he knows what happened. He doesn't have a lot of overhead. He understands that it's important to use our system on his cell phone. He learns how to do it himself. He's not having to train it out to his techs, and his techs not do it. We have to accommodate them completely different than how we accommodate our customers. Because our customers, they sit at desks and they need things facilitated in a certain way from a portal, or, sometimes these regional guys and our customers aren't sitting at desks, but the service providers, they need to be able to use our system via email or mobile app. It's a completely different experience for them. And I'm spending time on this because one of our major central focuses in this industry for our customers, who's paying the bills, but winning for everybody. Winning for them, winning for us, winning for the vendor. Because if we're not winning for everybody, somebody's not as invested. So as much as we're winning for the customer, we have to win for the vendor because they don't care a lot. They're not as hyped or nerdy about, good systems and software. That's all just a bunch of hyperbole to them, really. They're like, whatever, just handle that. I'm trying to do this repair for you, and where do I send my invoice? Whether we like it or not, that's their attitude. And it's understandable if you've been a tech in the field. If you've been a service provider, you understand that. We have to receive things from the vendors. We've got to receive ETA. We've got to receive communication. We've got to receive a check-in. We've got to receive on-site photos. We've got to receive after photos. We've got to receive an invoice, an estimate all the time through the process of a job from the vendor. And they don't have time to do that. That's double work. If they're going to Home Depot, fighting traffic, making a repair in a store, and all these things that they're doing is a completely full-time job. And if they have to add all this technology load on top of that, it's going to be frustrating. It's going to be a problem. Guess what? They're going to charge for it. They're going to charge money. We don't want that. We don't want the customers paying more money because the vendors are doing double work. Technology is supposed to work for us, not us work for technology, right? So how do we create a technology that works for the service provider? Why would we do that? Because you're accommodating the person that's invoicing you. And so we know that it's double work if the service provider is not accommodated in that way. They have got wrenches to turn and hot water heaters to drag up on top of a deck on top of your bathroom in your stock room. They're literally underneath of a stove in a restaurant, while dinner rush or whatever. They're in your dental office making a repair at, while you've got traffic in there. And so we need to be able to get all these things and verify, because this is all about compliance management from us, right? We automate everything transactional. Those are compliance management areas. I don't want my team being a transactional team. I didn't hire a bunch of secretaries to click buttons and answer phones. Systems do that automatically, not just for my team, but they do it for the vendor, they do it for the customer, and then we're in compliance. So now my team is working in compliance. They have time to, through the technology, to make sure that we didn't miss an ETA. We got an acceptable one, that they're on site when they were supposed to be on site, and that they're equipped to do a quality job. We're verifying that the quality job was done, all these different things. And so we want our customers to feel like we're delivering a story to them for every little service call. So if they have 500 locations across the country, we want the facility managers of these corporations to feel like at their desk, we're putting them in those 500 locations, or at least in the 20 or 30 or 50 or 100 open tickets they have for repairs, that we're telling a story of what's going on with each of those jobs in a really efficient way, not like that they have to go through it, but that they feel like, is there a hold on this? Are these people really pulling this off? The truth will rise to the top eventually, but If a tech misses an ETA, I think the system triggers that. It knows there was no check-in. So the system emails the vendor on its own, like, hey, you missed the ETA. Are you going to be there in a few minutes, or do you need to reset the ETA? Any little transactional data change in our system sometimes performs 7 or 10 things, like automatically. Our customers, when they approve an estimate, so we've been out to a location, the tech looked at the job, sent some photos, sent a quote in the portal, and then we sent the estimate to the customer. When the customer has a chance to review that, they review it and they have an approve button in their email, or if they're in the portal. When they click that approve button, like literally there's more than 7 things that instantaneously happen. So it's all about automation, so our team can be in compliance managers and spend time and that kind of thing. So literally, here's the 7 things that happen when a customer clicks approve. The D&E changes for the customer approval. So in our system, the approval amount automatically changes when they approve it. The estimate in our system is showing as approved. The vendor D&E changes to their approval amount. The job status changes depending return ETA. The system emails the vendor the approval. The admin system is updated on the notes to our account managers, and a return ETA request is sent to the vendor. There's more than that, but literally one push of a button from our customer approving does 7+ things in an automation. So you could imagine, I mean, that would take a lot of time for one person to do, and it's happening automatically. And that's just one example of dozens, or I don't know, maybe hundreds of processes that happen inside of our system. So I think we're in the days where, one size fits all softwares. I don't know. I mean, maybe some of those work, maybe they do, but every company I think that I've talked to, even outside of this industry, they're not really happy with their system. They're always changing systems and that kind of thing. But we've built one in-house, and we're really blessed big time to have an in-house team that we get along with and is really part of the team now. The lesson there is if you fail on that stuff, starting a software or something, don't give up. Keep going. You might have to change who's doing it for you. But there was times when I thought, this is not for me. I wanted it, but I couldn't get it. I kept going and we got it. So it's been pretty amazing. But being on the cutting edge, concerning technology is key in a mass transaction company. Team needs triggers when delinquent. Vendors need super easy processes. Customers need deliverables, so these are kind of different parties that need things a different way. And so we've figured that out over the course of time and delivering that, but coming from the dream to fruition was a journey. But we're there, and several automations per day on every single job. Technology is something that we are as a company, and we really have a lot of fun with it. Our whole team designs the software. My job is to go to my team and find out inefficiencies or find accommodations that they need in order to further automate their job, in ways that the system can do so they can spend time. It's a lot of work. It doesn't happen as fast because these systems, once they get robust, it's hard to fit new features into them and stuff, in a way that doesn't cause bugs, to be honest with you. And so there's a lot there with that. But that's what this episode was about. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Whether you're a customer or a service provider, or heck, if you're a competitor, jump on board. We want to create community. We want to reform this industry. We have a lot of aspirations. We've got some things that we're going to be doing to bring reformation and change to this industry. Needed change. We have purpose, insights, and groundbreaking plan in place for a life-giving boost and executed for customers, but its impact on vendors too. That's what this podcast is about. We hope you would like this one, but like and subscribe. Thank you for today. Thank you for joining us on the Retail Fix It podcast.